It seems that no matter where you look, there are just tons and tons of worksheets and workbooks you need for learning to read. Well, learning to read does not require tons of worksheets, and that is what I'm sharing with you today. Hi, I'm Rebecca with the Parent Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to become your child's most influential teacher. And today I'm talking about how you don't really need worksheets to teach your child how to read. Before we get started, make sure you click like and subscribe so you can be notified each time I upload a video for your child's learning. And if you have a thought along the way, please add it in the comment section below. Well, if there's one thing that I know about worksheets, it's that some children love them and some children do not. So if you're one of those parents out there who has a child like my oldest child who did not like to sit and do worksheets, never fear, you do not have to have worksheets in order to teach your child how to read. Now, having a chart up on the wall, fine. Having a few flashcards to learn some things that you may need to memorize, fine. So let's talk about some things that I did to teach my children how to read that you can do as well. The first thing that you can do is to get your child excited about learning the ABCs. And you can do this as young as age 2 or 3. Do you remember those days when you were asking your child to count to 3? Or maybe you were asking them what the cow says, what the duck says, what the dog says. In a similar way, you can ask them the sounds of the letters. You can also name the letters as you see them out and about. So get your child excited about the ABCs. You can do this with songs. You can do this by just drawing attention to them in your everyday activities. Most children think it's fun to learn the ABCs as long as they know you're not going to make them sit down and actually do work. Number 2 is to use hands-on materials for the ABCs. That is to say, 3D letters, where your child actually gets to touch the letter, hold the letter, move the around. Around. This is incredibly helpful, especially when your child is learning orientation of letters and noticing that some letters are the backward version of other letters. You can buy letter sets that are all capital and just start with those because they are less likely to be confusing. And then you can move on to lowercase letters. If you're a Pinterest kind of mom, there are tons of ideas out there where you can make things just with materials you have around your house. Otherwise, I would just say to purchase some foam bath time letters. Those usually come in all caps, and you can get them in the baby section of department stores or just order them online. The other thing you can have easily available are magnet letters that you can have on your refrigerator. We're in the kitchen a lot, so it's going to help remind you and your child to practice naming the ABCs and practicing the letter sounds. In addition to that, you can have your child use Play-Doh or Wiki Sticks to help build the letters and shape the letters. And don't worry, if you have a child that gets a little bit excited with too many things, you don't have to have all the letters on your refrigerator at the same time. You can start with just a few, maybe the letters that spell mom or dad, or the letters of your child's name. Number 3 is to name items by the letter they start with. So let's think about a ball. What does ball start with? What sound does ball start with? B. And be careful here not to say buh. So some teachers call that clipping the sound. Instead of saying buh, where you're adding an sound, you say b like that. And if you can just do that, you can take anything around your house, whether it be a b ball or a p plate. And keep in mind, if you have 2 consonants at the front of the word, it may be a little tricky for your child to hear that starting sound. So if I say play, it's got a P and an L. So you may have to say those things a little bit more slowly, but you can play all kinds of games while you're driving down the road. You can say, I spy something that starts with this sound, Or can you find something in this room that starts with this letter? And we've played those before when we are waiting around in a doctor's office or waiting for a table at a restaurant, just something to keep the kids entertained that is learning and free of screens, and obviously free of worksheets too. The fourth thing that you can do to help your child learn to read without worksheets is rhyming. So, how do you do that? Well, the first thing you do is expose your child to lots and lots and lots of rhyme. You can find rhyming in tons of kids' songs. You can find rhyming in children's books. You probably have some rhyming books in your house. When you're reading those books and you are reading them aloud to your child, point out the words that rhyme. Let your child repeat those words. Talk about the fact that they rhyme. Now, this takes a little bit of practice because some children have a little bit of misconception with rhyming, and they may think that words like ball and bat rhyme just because they start the same. Obviously, they have the same initial letter sound, but they do not rhyme. So make sure that your child has a good understanding of rhyming. You can do this by not only asking your child to produce a word that rhymes with a word you've given them, but you can also ask your child to tell you, do these two words rhyme or do they not rhyme? And it's okay to have words that sound alike, but not rhyme. Have your child understand exactly what it means to rhyme. And this is a process. So if there is a misconception, just up your game on exposing your child to those rhyming words. And remember, with rhyming, you can do made up words too. Number 5 is to keep letters out and available. This is the whole reason why we got bath time letters, because I knew every time we had bath time, my child would be playing with some letters that would stick to the side of the tub. This is why we have refrigerator magnets. And in the first house, we had the side of the refrigerator that was magnetic. The second house, we did not. So there are ways you can get around this. You can attach an oil drip pan or a cookie sheet to a certain place on your wall, or maybe the inside of a cabinet. Pinterest has lots of ideas to get around with this. I like it if it's actually attached to the wall because the letters stay in one place. I've tried it with the cookie sheet just being where we can take it anywhere we want throughout the house, and that did not work as well, but it may work for you. Just make sure that you have letters out and available. When I carried a diaper bag, I would have something like the wiki sticks that didn't have as much mess as Play-Doh, just stuck inside a Ziploc bag. And if I needed to keep my child quiet, I would shape a wiki stick into a particular letter and let my child guess the letter, or let my child try to shape the letter itself. And number 6, the last thing you can do is to show your child how to make a 3-letter word with the vowel in the middle. These are called CVC words, or consonant, vowel, consonant words. And once your child learns how to read these 3-letter words that have a short vowel in the middle, your child can read so many other words. It's really the key to unlocking reading. Now, some children catch on faster than others do. So if your child doesn't get it the first time you show them, never worry. Just keep exposing that to them. So you might build the word can on your refrigerator, and then you might slowly move each letter as you say its sound, and then say it all together at the end. Let your child mimic you. Let your child experiment and try to build words on their own. And if you build that excitement, they will. And don't worry about perfect spelling at the beginning. They are still building phonemic awareness, especially if they are practicing what letter sound do they hear at the beginning and what letter sound do they hear at the end. The middle one, which is the vowel, gets a little bit tricky sometimes. So you can help manage that with your child by just continuing to show them more examples. Now, if anything I've said here makes sense to you and you are interested in actually seeing this done on video, you need to check out my newest course, A Busy Mom's Guide to Teaching Your Child to read. I will leave a link for that in the description below. And be sure to get on my email list because my email subscribers will get a discount to purchasing this course. It has videos for you. It has everything laid out in the order in which you can address learning to read. It has any recommended resources that you might want to purchase. And don't worry, I keep everything at a low cost, and your child can learn to read without worksheets. It's a wonderful thing. I'm not against all worksheets. There's a time and a place for those, particularly when your child is learning how to write and use their handwriting appropriately. But this was just a way that I could teach my preschooler how to read, keep him excited about it, moving around, and have him start to notice words out in the real world and make his own at home. If you have any questions, remember you can write me. I respond to every email, Rebecca@theparentteacherbridge.com. And you can get on my email list by clicking the description below, getting my 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. Remember, parents, you are your child's most influential teacher.